Sorry.
All right, chapter 3, which is up the elevator and to the left in the lighthouse after you either do or do not skip the cutscene exiting chapter 2, depending on your system. For the most part, this chapter is played pretty much as intended, but we will go in depth on the things that we skip or change in any way. Pretty typical swing, zoop combinations here. This puzzle's pretty fun. The blue Yarny at the bottom, instead of climbing up, will make creative use of a zoop. That's one of those that doesn't really feel like you have line of sight, but it must be good enough. This short cutscene here is one of several where you gain control of the Yarny shortly before you can see the Yarny. So I just mash jump and hold right the entire time that plays out. There are a few obstacles here on the ground that you can run into, so careful not to jump on them or else you'll get killed by these cigarettes. Pretty simple once you know what you're doing. And we make our way into the barn. Say hi to the hedgehog.
Hi, hedgehog.
Yet another cutscene where we will gain control before we can see the Yarnies. So one Yarny wants to get over this beer keg here. You can start pushing it early if you want, but if you have not made it over before you get high enough up, it can be a little difficult. So I usually wait to push it until I have ensured the Yarny has made it over that beer keg. Once you get on top of these tables, the Yarny on the left wants to hold down the zoop buttons. Now this next part is very important. As soon as you see them zoop, you want to separate, because this cutscene right here, for whatever reason, is much, much shorter, and you gain control of your Yarny to start moving over to the right again much, much faster if the Yarnies are not merged together. So after you zoop off of those two tables, separate as quickly as you can. Here we build a bridge. You can do a zoop cancel if you want, but the bridge is just as fast and a little bit simpler. You can swing up and around here if you want, or just jump up. That was a pretty slow example, but you get the idea. And down into the cave we go. Now, as you're falling down this cave, you can jump right at the very end to avoid the fall damage there when you land. Make sure when you jump, you do not jump into one of the cigarettes. Here, we're going to separate. One Yarny's going to stay behind to draw the attention of that cigarette there so that it doesn't bother the Yarny who's proceeding forward. And then, for some reason, inexplicably, the cigarette just goes away, and you're completely safe through that whole puzzle. Alright, this next room is a little interesting. There's a couple of ways you can do it. We're not even going to bother demonstrating the intended method for this room because it takes forever and it's stupid. So we'll do a couple of things. First, you can do essentially half of the room. I'll demonstrate that now. We don't do this very often, but it can be done.
Yeah, this might take us a couple times because I don't think we've...
We have never bothered doing this in a run.
I think you have to wall slide down onto it.
Alright, hang on.
We always do the other method. We have not had to learn this. This is the new solo option.
In a solo run, this is a very, very helpful strat.
And then I could jump up there. I will not right now.
Ray could just jump up, and then I could zoop to her. Instead, this is what we want to do. If you're on a slower system, or if you're running solo, that is a very useful strat. Instead, what we're going to do is...
You're good.
Stand about here, where the left Yarny, the white Yarny here, is pushing this branch out of the way, and we're going to zoop to the Yarny on the right. You see how the white Yarny, as he was zooping, made contact with the fairy up above. That has to be done twice in order to trigger the checkpoint. So now the white Yarny is going to stand on the right. The blue Yarny is going to go over to the left.
Now we've both touched the checkpoint, and we can reload the checkpoint up there.
So if we restart checkpoint, we have now moved on. And we can go ahead. If you do that quickly, it saves, 7 to 10 seconds from doing the puzzle the intended way. And if you have fast load times when restarting the checkpoint, saves probably still 2 or 3 seconds even over doing only half of the puzzle. This section of the game we affectionately refer to as turkey time.
What time is it? It's turkey time.
The most important thing here is don't get eaten. Here you want one Yarny to distract the turkey while the other Yarny goes down below. As soon as they're under, it's safe to go back over. And the blue Yarny is now going to distract the turkey again so that the white Yarny can go down.
There is a dumb bird skip there, but it's real dumb for us too, so we don't do it.
And just when you thought you were safe, there's another turkey. That's okay, he's dumb too. Try not to get tangled there if you can. Alright, here's a fun little skip coming up. Ordinarily, this puzzle requires quite a bit of patience to get this turkey. I didn't get it first try, but that's okay. It's easy. It's nice to be able to demonstrate this anyway. This turkey is facing to the right now. If I try and jump up, it will eat me. Instead, we want him facing left. So, more often than not, as you approach this tree stump, you can just jump here, jump down, and then jump back in without touching it, and usually the turkey will be facing left. He's not this time. That's okay. Let's back up a little bit. Approach again. This often works as well. Jump up here. It can be a little bit finicky sometimes. There we go. Now he's facing the left, and he will not eat me. If it takes a few tries, that's okay. Just make sure you have the turkey facing left before you proceed. And that, believe it or not, is the entire chapter. There are no more puzzles, no more obstacles. It's just run right until the cutscene. Bye, turkey.